Hi students, I hope all are fine. So today we are entering into a new unit and the chapter that we are going to deal with is about the snake and the mirror. Okay, the snake and the mirror. It is written by Vaikam Muhammad Bashir. Vaikam Muhammad Bashir was a well-known Malayalam writer. Okay, he has written a number of novels like പാത്തുമ്മയുടെ ആട് എൻ്റെ ഉപ്പൂപ്പാക്ക് ആന ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു like that. So many novels are there and some of which some are translated. So what we are going to learn today is written by him and it is translated by other person. It's a translated work of Vaikam Muhammad Bashir that we are going to see. And one thing that reflects in all his stories or all his novels is that he used to write stories in simple language which the common people would understand. So this particular story is also written in a simple language using the dialect of his place. Using the dialect and the slang of his place. That was the way he has written his stories and novels and so on. That is about Vaikam Muhammad Bashir. So the story, the snake and the mirror. When we hear this story, suddenly two things come to our mind, right? One is the image of a snake and the other one is the image of a mirror, isn't it? Every day we look at the mirror. Whenever we look at the mirror, what do? We used to keep our hair, fix our hair. Then we would see if there is a pimple on our face or our face is okay, then we would just smile and so on, isn't it? So here in this story what we see is about a snake who also did the same, who admired the beauty when it was in front of a mirror. So we will see that incident and what has happened after that incident. So here what you need is, before we go into the chapter, let us read this. Do you like to look at yourself in the mirror? What do you think about at such times? Have you ever seen a dog, a cat or a bird look into a mirror? What do you think it sees? It's as I told you, we always look at the mirror. So have you ever seen a dog or a cat or any other animals go in front of the mirror and see themselves? I don't think so. If you have dogs and son at home, if the mirror is so down and so, sometimes they might go and see, isn't it? So we can see. Then when we look at the mirror, what do we feel? What do we feel? I had already told you that in the beginning. So now we shall just read this humorous story about a doctor, a snake and a mirror. So we shall just enter the chapter. Has a snake ever coiled itself around any part of your body? A full-blooded cobra? All of us fell silent. The question came from the homeopath. The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. We listened attentively as the doctor continued with his tale. This class, there is a students were in a class and a doctor was taking class, isn't it? So he was taking class and as one of the topics was about snakes. So when the discussion was going on about snakes, this doctor told a tale. A tale means a story. And he asked the students whether anyone experienced a snake being coiled around their body. Coiled means just rolling and rolling over the hand or making a kind of a bind in the hand. That's what coil means. So this particular doctor asked the students and everyone was silent, and the doctor continued with his story. He said, it was a hot summer night about 10 o'clock. I had my meal at the restaurant and returned to my room. I heard a noise from above as I opened the door. The sound was a familiar one. One could say that the rats and I shared the room. I took out my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. Okay, so the doctor continued with his story, saying it was about 10 o'clock one summer night. He finished his dinner and he went to his room. So, as soon as he opened the room, he heard a noise from the top, a similar one. Okay, every day he used to hear that noise, and he says it's like the rats also shared the room with this particular doctor. Okay, this doctor was sharing his room with the rats. Then he what did he do? He took out his box of matches and he lit it and lit the kerosene lamp and kept that lamp on the table. The the house was not electrified. It was a small rented room. I had just set up medical practice and my earnings were meager. I had about 60 rupees in my suitcase, along with some shirts and dhotis. I also possessed one solitary black coat which I was then wearing. Okay, so this doctor is now telling about his occupation. He was a doctor and he was doing his medical practices, and his salary was very meager. He used to get only very a few means very less salary, and it is said that he had only 60 rupees in his suitcase and some shirts and dhotis, and that was the only thing he possessed. And he also had a coat, okay, a black coat, okay, old one, and which he was wearing at that time. I took off my black coat, white shirt, and not so white vest and hung them up. I opened the two windows in the room. It was an outer room with one wall facing the open yard. I had a tiled roof with long supporting gables that rested on the beam over the wall. There was no ceiling. There was a regular traffic of rats to room and from the beam. I made my bed and pulled it close to the wall. I lay down, but I could not sleep. I got up and went out to the veranda for a little air, but the wind god seemed to have taken time off. Okay, so what did he do? He removed his clothes uh, and also the shirt and so on, and he opened the two windows thinking that there would be some air, because the house was not electrified, means to say there was no power. And this room was an outer room, so if you open the door it would face the yard. Okay, if you'd open the window it would face the yard, and there would be some air and so on. And he said his room had a tiled roof with long supporting gables. Gables means you can just see the picture in your textbook, so you will understand what it is. Okay, and it is said there was no ceiling for the room, and there was a traffic of rats. Rats used to go up. Always he used to find rats there, okay, in his room. And he prepared his bed and he started lying down, but the other could not sleep. Okay, the doctor could not sleep. So what did he do? He got up and he went to the veranda, and he was just walking. He thought he would get some wind, but it is said the wind god seemed to have taken time off, means to say the wind god was silent. There was no wind at all. I went back into the room and sat down on the chair. I opened the box beneath the table and took out a book, the Materia Medica. I opened it at the table on which stood the lamp and a large mirror. A small comb lay aside the mirror. One feels tempted to look into a mirror when it is near one. I took a look. In those days, I was a great admirer of beauty and I believed in making myself look handsome. I was unmarried and I was a doctor. I felt I had to make my presence felt. I picked up the comb and ran it through my hair and adjusted the parting so that it looked straight and neat. Again, I heard that sound from above. Okay, now he was walking in the veranda, and the doctor did not get any wind because there was no wind at all. And he came to his room, he sat down on the chair, and he took a book, Materia Medica, means it must be with regard to some materials on medicines. Okay, then he was reading that book, he opened it and kept on the table where the lamp was, and there was a mirror and also a comb near there. Okay, so what did he do? He now speaks about the mirror. Okay, whenever there is a mirror, everyone will feel like looking at the mirror. Okay, looking into the mirror means to say that, okay, if I have grown beautiful, or do I look handsome? Boys would see and say, do I look handsome? Girls would look into the mirror and say, do I look beautiful? Like that. So he was just looking at the mirror and he was telling that, okay, mirror is that thing which, if it is there nearby, everyone will feel like looking into it. Okay, so he also had a temptation to look into the mirror. So what did he do? He looked at the mirror and he said, okay, he was unmarried, he was a doctor, and he also wanted his presence felt. So what did he do? He took the comb and started fixing his hair. And he adjusted his hair and so on, and he kept it straight and it was neat. So as he was doing also, he heard that noise. Okay, the noise which he heard when he opened the door, he heard the same noise again. He thought it was rats. Okay, so I think so much would be enough for today. So in next class we will see what that noise was. Okay, or which is the creature which was making this noise. So all those things we will see in the next class. Before that, we need to see certain vocabulary. Meager means small in quantity. Gable, upper part of a wall below a sloping roof. If you it is enough that you look into the textbook, you have the picture, so you will be able to understand what it is. Okay, so we have a worksheet. There are 5 questions in it, right? What did the author hear as he opened the door of his room? First question. Second, with whom was the author sharing his room? Third one, what did the author think the noise to be? Fourth, what was the occupation of the author? Fifth one, mention some of the possession of the author. Okay, so this is a worksheet. You can write the answers. It is enough that just go through the text which we have taken today, and you will be able to find the answers for it. So I hope today's class is clear to you. Thank you and bye.